From the beautiful Golden Isles of coastal Georgia, Golden Isles Primitive Baptist Fellowship presents Sunday Morning Devotional with today's speaker, Pastor V. Vernon Eckleberry. Join us every Sunday at 9 a.m. on this YouTube channel. And now here's Pastor V. Vernon Eckleberry with today's message.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Devotional brought to you by Golden Isles Primitive Baptist Fellowship. I'm V. Vernon Eckleberry, and this morning I have a lesson for you entitled The Philadelphia Story. But first, we invite you to sing along with a hymn that fits our theme this morning, How Sweet, How Heavenly.
How sweet, how heavenly is the sight when those that love the Lord in one another's peace delight and so fulfill the word. When each can feel his brother sigh and with him bear a part. When sorrow flows from eye to eye, and joy from heart to heart. When free from envy, scorn, and pride, our wishes all above. Each can his brother's failing sight, and show a brother's love. When love in one delightful stream through every bosom flows, when union sweet and dear esteem in every action glows, love is the golden chain that binds the happy souls above. And he's an heir of heaven who finds his bosom glow with love.
And now, the Philadelphia story. We'll look first of all at a king named Philadelphia. There was a Greek king named Eumenes II who reigned over Pergamum in 197 BC until his death. Now, Pergamum was located near the Aegean Sea in what is now western Turkey. His brother Attalus II served as his loyal general and later succeeded him to the throne. At some point, Attalus was approached by officials of the Roman Empire and offered substantial incentives to help overthrow his brother, King Eumenes. Well, Attalus refused, and his loyalty to his brother earned him the name Philadelphus. Now, that name was derived from two Greek words, one philos, meaning loving, and the other adelphos, meaning brother. And so a new name emerged, Philadelphos, or Philadelphia, brotherly love. And now a city named Philadelphia. Around 189 BC, Eumenes II founded a city, and he named it Philadelphia in honor of his loyal brother. Now there's a Turkish city named Alaşehir that stands in the place of old Philadelphia today, but the spirit of brotherly love continued through another source, and that was a church named Philadelphia. In the first century, Philadelphia had a large Jewish population, so the church was comprised of Jews who must have been converted during trips to Jerusalem for the high holy days. And although they were evidently a small congregation, they were important enough to be among the churches that Christ addressed through the Apostle John in what is called the 7 letters to the churches in Asia. In the 3rd chapter of Revelation, verse 7, And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, John was told by Christ. Now, although they were a small congregation, Christ commended them for their work. Verse 8 says, I know thy works, behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. And some people have called that the open door of opportunity. But then Christ goes on to say through John, for thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word. Now that little tells us something about the size of the congregation, but strength tells us about how strong they were, because that word strength comes from an ancient Greek word dynamis, which means dynamite. So they were small, but they were dynamite. And what was the source of that strength? We read a little further, thou hast a little strength and hast kept my word and hast not denied my name. Now, Paul used that word in Romans chapter 1, speaking of the gospel. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to every one that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. So Paul says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel because it's dynamite. It's the power of God. The same word, dynamis, was used in that case. So it was the word of God and their faithfulness to it that gave the little congregation in Philadelphia their strength. But the most noble and notable characteristic of the church at Philadelphia was their togetherness. There were no divisions. They lived up to their name, a church of brotherly love. Now, the other churches that are addressed in these 7 letters all suffered from factions from within. Like so many churches today, the enemy not so much was from without, but from within. Well, the old church at the city of Philadelphia disappeared into the mists of time, but the Philadelphian spirit did not. Many churches and cities have taken the name Philadelphia, but Paul addresses the churches with the true nature of Philadelphia, brotherly love, when he writes in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 1, let brotherly love continue. Now, Paul doesn't say get brotherly love or make brotherly love. Paul said, let brotherly love continue. The New Testament church from the very beginning was known by its brotherly love. For this is the message, John wrote, that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Brotherly love was a direct gift from God to his people. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 9, but as touching brotherly love, Paul writes, ye need not that I write unto you, for ye yourselves are taught of God to love one another. And here again, brotherly love comes from the ancient Greek Philadelphos or Philadelphia. Now, that love is enhanced when it reaches outside of the walls of the local congregation. Paul goes on to say, and indeed, ye do it, that is, exhibit this brotherly love, ye do it toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia. In other words, to all of those beyond your local congregation. Well, here's Paul's definition of brotherly love. Make no mistake about it. There is no substitute. There is no other definition. There is no other way that brotherly love can be defined than this. Romans 12:10. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love. Now, Paul then tells us exactly what that is. In honor, preferring one another. That is, regarding the other more so than oneself. Little did General Attalus II know that his acquired name, Philadelphia, would become the hallmark of a great worldwide movement that continues to this day and until the end of time. It remains for us, for you and for me, and our local church to answer this question: are we a part of the Philadelphia story, demonstrating the spirit of brotherly love? Paul said, "Let brotherly love continue." The words of Joseph Swain's hymn that we sang in the beginning capture the message of the Philadelphia story so well. How sweet, how heavenly is the sight, when those that love the Lord in one another's peace delight, and so fulfill the word. Let brotherly love continue. That's the Philadelphia story, and now may God be with you till we meet again.
Thank you for being with us today. Join us each Sunday morning at 9 a.m. right here on this YouTube channel. God bless you, and may you have a joyful Lord's Day.